the vans are going to leave at 3 p.m. So everyone be there and ready to go on time. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about any of that? What time are we leaving? I just told you that a moment ago. Vans leave at 3 p.m. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? He farted. Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions about this trip that we're taking? Yeah. Can you make this noise? I honestly don't know. I've never tried to make that sound before. Okay, before we leave tonight, does anyone have any questions about the trip that we have been talking about for the last 15 or 20 minutes? Does anyone have questions about this specific trip? Yeah. Yeah, so last night, my dog got out of my backyard and he got hit by a car and died. And our family loved that dog and we'd had him for years. And I was just wondering, did that happen? Is God, because God is punishing us for something that someone in my family did? And if so, why would God let something terrible like that happen to begin with? That is a tough question. You know, really? All right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in. Hope y'all found that humorous. That was really just an opportunity for us to get into the idea that we all have questions, all right? And sometimes we think that our questions are silly. Sometimes we think our questions are unimportant, and sometimes we don't. And sometimes we ask questions regardless of whether they're silly or inappropriate or anything like that. And those are the best kinds of questions, to be honest with you. And so I don't want you to think I'm making fun of any of those questions in that video. I'm actually really glad when you guys ask questions. And today I want to spend some time answering some questions that you guys have been asking me, that some of your parents have been asking me, that a lot of people have been asking me about some changes that we're making in the youth ministry. And it's a change that I'm really excited about. And if you haven't been paying attention, or if you haven't found out through the bulletin or listening to our online streams, I want to let you know we're making some changes to how we do things when we come back on the 13th. And so that might even be news to you. So let me start from the beginning. On September the 13th, that's a Sunday, we will be meeting again as a youth group. But it is going to look a little bit different than it has in the past. And they say that the best newspaper articles, journals, whatever you want to call it, answer these questions. It's the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. And so I'm going to do my best to answer those questions for you tonight. And so thank you very much for giving us some time where you can pay attention and learn some of these answers to the questions that you guys might have. And I want to promise you, I have a stopwatch here, all right, and it's going. We've been talking for 1 minute and 40 seconds right now, and I promise that when this thing says 15, we're going to be done. And so I'm going to try to keep this as short and sweet as I can. But I have gotten a lot of questions about the announcement, and so I want to take some time to answer some of the most important questions, the most asked questions that we've had. And so some of these will be short answers, and some of them will take a little bit more time. And we'll start with the short answer. So the first answer is who, and that is 7th graders through graduating seniors. And so if you are anywhere in that age group, or if your student is anywhere in that age group, this pertains to them. We have several new students that are coming in that just finished 6th grade last year, just started 7th grade this year, and this is going to be our opportunity to welcome them into the youth group, and I'm really looking forward to that. I've already talked to a couple of parents who have some questions about their kids coming into the youth group, and I am excited for all of our new students to join us starting September the 13th. The what is the changes that we're making, which is instead of meeting, what we've normally been doing is meeting on Sunday mornings for about 45 minutes and Wednesday nights for about 45 minutes, which gives us a combined total of about 90 minutes. That's an hour and a half a week. That is our time. And we are going to be changing that to meeting one time a week on Sunday evenings from 4 to 6. So that's going to give us more time, and we're going to get into that on when we get to some of these other questions down here. But that's the what, is we're changing the way that the youth group meets, the times that we meet, from 2 times a week on Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights to 1 time a week, Sunday evening from 4 to 6. All right, the when, I already answered that, is September the 13th. That's a Sunday coming up, not depending on when you watch this. It's not this Sunday, but the next Sunday. But Sunday the 13th, we're starting this new schedule, and I'm really excited about it for a lot of different reasons. The where is an easy one. That's right in the teen room where we've always been meeting. You might notice a few changes. We've had to rearrange some things after our COVID incident and things like that. And so as we're putting them back together, made some changes to how things are laid out. And so you might be excited to see some of the changes. Nothing big. I'm not trying to build up this big thing. And we moved the furniture around a little bit, but I think it's going to be good. And the thing that I want to spend the most time on this evening is the why. Because I think that's the thing that might concern people when we talk about making changes, is why are we making that change? And sometimes that question doesn't get asked as why. It gets asked, well, what about this? Or, well, what about that? Or, well, what about this? And what they're really saying is, why are you doing this? Why are you changing this? And those are perfectly legitimate questions. So I want to spend some time answering your questions tonight. And so that is where we're going to spend the most time, is on this why. Why go away from a Sunday morning, Wednesday night meeting schedule and just meet once a week? And the answer to that is several fold. And so starting off, one, it's so that we can have more time together. We just went through a major quarantine, a shutdown. We've been separated from each other for a long time. A lot of our time has been taken away from us over the last several months. And I want as much time with you guys as I can get. I want for us to have as much time together as we possibly can. And so this move is going to give us more time together. Instead of 90 minutes a week, we're going to have 2 hours a week. And like on Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights, because of how things work, it takes you a little bit of time, usually 10 or 15 minutes, to kind of ease into what we're doing that night. And so you already lose about 30 minutes of that. So we really only have about an hour of time together after kind of that getting into the flow of things each week. And by the time you get through announcements, by the time you get through everything, our time just starts to dwindle. And so this is going to give us more time. We're going to have that same amount of time to ease in, about 10 or 15 minutes, but now we have 2 full hours to go after we're in the groove. And so I think it's going to be really great. It's going to give us more time to spend worshiping together. It's going to give us more time to spend learning together. It's going to give us more time to spend in our small groups, which we're going to continue. And so it's going to be good for our relationships with each other, good for our relationships with God, and I think it's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to it. And so anyways, so that's why number one is I want more time with y'all, and I want y'all to have more time with each other. I also want for us to be more unified. That's another why, is because what sometimes happens is if you have 2 meeting times, you start to develop, to some extent, 2 different groups. You have a Sunday morning group, and then you have a Wednesday night group. And you have the Wednesday night group are the ones that may not feel like getting up on Sunday mornings, but they know, oh, I'll get there on Wednesday nights. And you have the Sunday morning group that maybe says, Wednesdays are really busy for me. During the week, I have school and I have work and I have play practice and I have band practice and I have sports and I have all that stuff. And so Wednesday nights are kind of hard for me to get to church. And so I'll go Sunday morning. And so you end up getting these two different groups. And I don't want that. I want for us to be one group, one family that meets together every time that we can. And so I think that this is going to be good to bring us together, to promote unity in our group, and that's going to be a pretty big theme moving forward. And if you come the 13th, you're going to hear more about the idea of unity in our group and what that looks like and what that means. But that's going to be a big emphasis for our group, is being unified and being together and being of one heart and one mind, one soul, one purpose. And so this is going to be a step that's going to get us closer to that and help us move in that direction. So I'm looking at my notes here. I even wrote it on colorful paper, just like Jimmy Fallon does. He has his blue note cards. I got my orange note cards. so we can love each other better. I mean, one of the most important things that we do when we get together and we've been doing it on Wednesday nights, is our small groups. And typically, what happens is we play some games, we go through the announcements, we get into our small groups, and we just don't have as much time to spend learning and sharing our lives with each other as sometimes we like. We have to cut it short because people have to get home early enough to finish their homework. We're usually getting done around 8, and so that gives us just a few hours of time to get homework done before we have to go to bed. And so people are rushing out the door. And so I think moving the time to Sunday from 4 to 6 gives us time in the evening that once we're done at 6, you still have time to go home and eat dinner with your family. You still have time to go home and finish any schoolwork that they haven't gotten done through the several days of weekend that have led up to it. And so I think this is going to help us to have a more relaxed time, a more cohesive time, and it's going to help us to love each other better. And the third why is because I want for us to serve more. And I have loved seeing the heart of service that we have in our group. We have teens that have helped out in the children's ministry, teaching classes, helping out in the nursery and things like that. And typically what happens is when we serve in other ministries, we miss out on the time that we have with each other because our times overlap. And so this is going to give us more of an opportunity to serve together. And so I'm really excited about that, and that's one area that I want to encourage you to consider. And we're encouraging all of our students on Sunday mornings and on Wednesday nights to get involved in ministry here at Fairmont Park. There are so many ways that you can get involved, and now you don't have to miss out on our time together as a youth group. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And one of those, like I said, is the children's ministry. And I've already talked to Amber about this and said, well, how can we get our kids involved? And there are lots of ways that you guys can get involved. I'm sorry, I called y'all kids. Our students can get involved, and that is as teachers. Teaching little kids about Jesus. That's an awesome way to serve. And maybe you don't feel comfortable teaching and you'd rather sit in on a class and just kind of help make sure that kids are behaving themselves so that they can pay attention, so they can learn from whoever is teaching. And we need helpers. We need guides to lead kids from one place to their class and things like that. And so there's a lot of opportunities to serve in our children's ministry. And I imagine that a lot of y'all will really, really enjoy serving in that capacity. And so that's one area. Another opportunity is in our technology ministry. So over the last several months, because of this COVID, we've really upped our game technologically, and we need a lot of help with that because there's a lot of moving parts. There's cameras and there's switches and there's soundboards and there's all these different things that all have to work together, and it's more than one or two or sometimes even three people can do by themselves. And so the more hands that we have, the lighter the work. That's a saying. The more hands, the lighter the work. And so we need more hands in that ministry to help maintain the level of quality that we aspire to. And it's just a great opportunity for you guys to serve, to learn. The things that you learn in the tech ministry are things that you will carry over into other aspects of your life. Like, who hasn't had to go over and hook up a computer for their grandparents, or who hasn't had to help their grandparents learn how to work a smartphone or things like that? Or maybe you have a video game system and you know how to plug it into a TV. Well, guess what? Some people don't know how to do that. And this is an opportunity for you to be taught by people who've been working with some pretty high-tech equipment how to use some of these things. And that's a great opportunity for you to learn and for you to get involved. And so that's one area that's the second area I want to encourage you to get involved in. And the third one that I'm going to talk about, but certainly not the last one that there is, because there are lots of opportunities, is on our greeters ministry. And some of y'all have met Tim Baugh, our discipleship minister, but he leads our greeters ministry. And you might think that that's an easy thing or maybe an unimportant thing that we just need, it's just people saying hi as you come in. But the greeters ministry is an awesome opportunity for you especially to reach out and to seek out first-time guests, first-time teens who have never come into our building, who are scared to death, who don't know what to expect, that you get to be the person who welcomes them, who makes them feel comfortable, who makes them feel at home. And the way I kind of see this playing out is if we can get some of our teens on our greeters ministry to seek out those first-time visitors, that's an opportunity for you to take them and say, hey, we don't have a teen class that's meeting right now. All of our teens are serving in other areas, but let me show you where our teen room is. And you take them down and you show them and say, this is our game room. This, we have Xbox on every time we get together. You can come early, you can play video games. This is where we do our teaching. This is where we do our small groups. This is the place where we eat meals together and we share in fellowship. And you can get them to a place where when they come back later on that evening, because you're going to invite them back and say, we hope you come back tonight at 4 whenever we meet, so that whenever they come back in, they're walking into a place that they're familiar with now, a place that they have seen, that we've removed the mystery for them. We've let them know what to expect, and now they can walk into that space more confidently and with a little bit more assurance. And so I think that again, those are just a few ways that you guys can get involved. And we have one of our teens. Y'all know him. Y'all love him. Pate Hayes, who has been serving with our tech ministry for the last several months. And I asked him to come in and just sit down with me, and I recorded a short little interview that I'm going to close out our video here tonight with. But I just want you to hear from him what it's meant to serve in a ministry outside of just receiving ministry here at Fairmont Park, because it's a very different thing and can be a real blessing. And so I hope you enjoy this as we close out our time together. And I can't tell you how excited I am for us to be able to get together again September the 13th from 4 to 6 in the teen room. All of our new incoming 7th graders, all the way through our new seniors this year. I can't wait to be together again, and I can't wait to see what God does with this, how God uses you and our new avenues to serve. And I promise you that we would be done when this thing hits 15. And look at that, it's 14:29. 31 seconds to spare. But we'll close out with this video with Pate sharing a little bit about his experience serving in the ministry over the last several months, and encourage you to consider what area you want to get involved in, because we want all of our students to be involved in serving and ministering to other people in some way. So thanks, guys, for listening. I really appreciate you taking some time, and I really cannot wait to see y'all September 13th from 4 to 6 in the teen room. You have a great night. Bye-bye.
I'm Pate Hayes. I go to Midland Lee High School, or whatever it's going to be called when this video is released, and I'm going to be a junior. It's like an insider thing to how the church runs, because you see people cooperating and fixing problems that you didn't know the church ever had, because usually you just come to church and you sit and you worship and everything usually runs pretty good, but you're up there on top, and you're doing something, you have a responsibility, and people don't tend to see that someone's actually back there doing that stuff. The easiest challenge is you to get to church a little bit earlier, but it's fine because working for the church is actually something I really enjoy doing. But the machines all look really intimidating at first, but then they're labeled good, and once you get the hang of them, it's really easy, and it's like clockwork. Ever since the world shut down and nobody was allowed anywhere and school was stopped and all my extracurriculars were stopped, I lost my sense of purpose in society, I guess, because I wasn't doing anything. But now that I started going to church, and church, is a big deal, or it should be a big deal in everyone's life. So coming to church and being a part, it's pretty good. I think it's really cool that I get a key to the church. Makes me feel like a grown-up.